In today's video, I'm going to take you through a step-by-step guide that's going to help you fix that reverse pivot. Now, what does a reverse pivot look like? Well, as you can see on the swing to the side of me, what is happening is the pelvis is working excessively away from the target in the backswing as the upper body is working towards the target or staying in the same position. So essentially at the top, we get into a position to where you can see this spine angle is leaning towards the target. When we do that, it is going to be very, very difficult to rotate. The other thing that tends to happen is the hands go upwards as well. When they go upwards, we call this a lack of depth. Depth is where the butt end of the grip at the top of the backswing is relative to the feet. Players then swing over the top. It makes it very difficult to get the club working down on plane, ultimately can produce massive pulls or dreaded slices. So as you can tell, horrible move, we gotta fix it, and it all starts with the setup. I want you to film your swing from the front on view. Then I want you to draw a rectangle going from the edges of your shoulders straight down and then across like so. Now, this rectangle is going to show us where our pelvis is relative to the edge of the shoulders. If we see that the pelvis is back and closer to the trail side of this rectangle, you can now see how that skewed my spine angle. My spine angle is now preset and leaning towards the target. From here, if I was to just turn, you can see how it makes it very, very difficult. I'm actually on the toe of my right foot right there, and my pelvis has worked laterally away. Using that same rectangle, we can actually fix this at address. So what we are trying to see is with that rectangle, we want the pelvis to be slightly closer to the lead side. So if you take either side of my hips right there, you want the space to be smaller on the lead side than it is the trail side. That's a great indication that the pelvis is slightly closer towards the target. And as a result of that, look at my spine angle now. You can see how my spine angle is gently leaning away from the target. Now, as I do this, it's interesting that my pressure also shifts slightly more to my left foot. So I feel right here about 60-40. So 60% of my weight is in my lead foot. I feel like my pelvis may be just closer to the lead foot, and I have a slight bit of spine tilt away from the target. Now from this position, it's going to be way easier to just turn to the top, pivot correctly, get that nice spine angle, and ultimately from there, unwind correctly in the downswing. So let's now assume that your setup is fixed. Your pelvis is closer towards the lead side of that rectangle. However, we're still seeing yourself laterally sway with the pelvis, creating that reverse pivot. So now we've got to dive into, okay, how does the body actually work? The first thing I want you to do is grab an alignment stick and just put it down as your ball position line. We're going to use this as a great reference guide right here. So if you're set up to the golf ball and you see yourself still swaying this way with the pelvis, creating that reverse pivot, you're going to see how pretty much my whole pelvis has gone past that alignment stick right there. My chest is still somewhat over the alignment stick on the ground, creating that spine angle that leans towards the target. In this situation, we've now got to go, okay, we've got to change the way we are moving our pelvis in relation to the upper body. So the first thing that we've got to do is simplify it all down. How is the pelvis supposed to work? Well, if I just grab the golf club and I pop it on my shoulders, stand shoulder width apart and just straight up, if I just turn to my right, as I'm a right-handed golfer, you can see how my pelvis turns in pretty much an arc, especially this trail hip. The trail hip is turning back and around. Now also, if you look at my lead glute muscle right here, it's still target side of the alignment stick. So it's now in this situation to where I'm just rotating around this center point being my spine, my axis, my trail hips turned back and around, and my lead hip is still target side of this alignment stick. Still have the club on your shoulders, this time get into your golf posture. As you turn, you want to feel like your lead glute stays target side of this alignment stick and your trail hip turns back and around to create the golf ball worth of space, just like so. Now the other thing you'll notice is that the golf club on my shoulders is now behind the golf ball. So as a result, if you draw a line down my spine angle, what you will see is my spine angle is tilted away from the target. And this is going to be very much the checkpoints we use to help you fix your reverse pivot. As you set up to the ball, you want to feel like you can go lead hip staying target side and then turn that trail shoulder behind you, get that nice full hip turn. So it's going to look something like this. This is going to be the speed that you're going to go at. And through. So you can see as I've done that, I've gone very slow, and that just gives yourself some time to learn it. Now, what I also want to do is I want to give you a drill that's going to force you into the right position. So the drill that we're going to do to force you into this good position to help you speed up your learning process is the ball against the wall drill. So what you need to do is find a wall, grab a beach ball, a basketball, anything like that, and pop it between your lead hip and the wall right there. So it's sort of wedged in there. Now, either cross your hands on your shoulders or have the golf club on your shoulders. Now from here, you want to make a pivot and you want to feel like you keep that ball wedged between your lead hip and the wall. If your pelvis was to work laterally, creating this reverse pivot, you can see how the ball would drop straight out there. So this is a great drill because it's going to give you direct feedback, and any drill that gives us direct feedback is going to help you learn this process so much faster. So grab that ball, wedge it in there between your lead hip and the wall, make a turn, feel like it keeps it in there. You can see as I do that, the lead hip is closer to the target right there, hasn't swayed away. I've created a golfer worth of space and my upper body is turned behind the ball. My spine angle is leaning away. Now from this position, if I was to swing down, I'm going to be able to shift, rotate, get the club working on the correct plane on the way down. Ultimately from there, it's going to help me produce far more consistent shots. The other thing that I like is this is a good sort of thought just to have in the back of your mind. If you're out on a golf course and you need to sort of get creative to help you with these feels, is imagine that ball's there, you're feeling like you're keeping it in there. That's going to keep that pelvis closer to the target, get your upper body leaning away, and ultimately from there, it's going to help you produce that inside path, that into-out path that so many of you are looking for, helping you hit those draw shapes, or just to get you back onto plane. So let me give this a go right now. I'm going to exaggerate that feeling as I set up here. Imagine that feeling, and then let's just hit. So the reverse pivot is something a lot of golfers struggle with, and it can really hurt your game. Now, if you're looking for more one-to-one coaching, I do offer online coaching on the Skillist platform. I'll leave the link down below. If you want to work for myself, no matter where you are in the world, you can do now with online coaching. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, please give it a like and subscribe, and I hope to see you back here soon.